Surprise! I'm doing a video on an operator I'm sure 99% of you forgot about. Wan-KING is an instructor who costs the same as a flag bearer, produces DP like a flag bearer, and is a flag bearer. I only came to this realization after using him on my No Gacha account after playing through Lone Trail, but I've absolutely been sleeping on him. I'll get into the DP production stuff later, because God forbid I talk about a Vanguard without bringing up the obvious. With his module, his talent boosts the HP of all operators in the surrounding 8 tiles by 10%, 14% if they're facing the same direction as Wan-KING. Now, the facing the same direction restriction is barely a restriction. You probably already put your flag bearers right behind your core blocker in your setup because of the bonus block that they supply with their module, and normally all your ops are facing the same direction anyways, since that's where the enemies are coming from, with some exceptions obviously, such as with medics. Wan-KING is usually always going to be facing the same direction as everyone else, as this is an easy 14% HP boost. And keep in mind, this 14% HP boost isn't tied to uptime anything. This is entirely passive, and you get it just for putting down your DP producer, and 14% is no joke. For most of your guards and defenders who sit between the 2300 and 3000 HP mark, Wan-KING grants them between 320 to 420 HP along that spectrum, for free. Some of the healthier options that range from 3500 to 4000, like a Max Matterhorn or Bubble, can see a boost of almost 500 to 600 HP. I wish there was a subclass that could really abuse this HP buff though. Oh wait, there is, it's Crushers. My Quartz sits at 5732 base HP. So simply by standing next to Wan-KING, that base HP is boosted by 800 HP, pushing her to 6532 HP. Adding in her talents, Quartz's final HP is 7049. If you really want to stretch this further, Ulpianus and Hoderer end up with 7720 and 7681 HP, respectively, under this buff. Okay, so what? He's a worse Myrtle that buffs HP. What's the big deal? Well, I ain't done yet. Wan-KING's S2 does two things. Normally, the skill just heals operators equal to 25% of Wan-KING's attack, which is low compared to Myrtle and Sayleech, but it's every surrounding operator. So as long as you're healing at least 2 operators at once, it is at worst Myrtle's S2. But on top of that, if the operator is facing the same direction as Wan-KING, they get a 25 attack speed boost, which is equivalent to a 20% boost in attack interval. This is about the same as Elysium's 23 attack speed boost to snipers, except for everyone. However, although Elysium's boost is global, Wan-KING has the benefit of hitting guards and medics. This is a 20% boost to DPS and a 20% boost to healing per second. So weirdly enough, Wan-KIng's S2 is just as much as a defensive boost as it is an offensive boost, on top of the defensive talent. There are loads of different ways that you can synergize with these buffs. As I already stated, you can abuse that talent to buff Crushers by an insane amount. His attack speed buff also really helps Crushers with their slower attack speed, but if you're using a Crusher, you're probably using Warfare to keep them alive. Her max HP based healing with her S1 is further boosted with Wan-KIng's talent, and since it's an offensively charged skill, Wan-KIng helps her charge it 20% faster with his S2. And well, there's not much stopping you from using both Wan-KIng and Elysium for some crazy sniper shenanigans. But what about Wan-KIng as a DP producer? Well, this is where it gets a little weird. Myrtle is infamous for being one of the best DP producers in the game. But why? Well, when it comes to flag bearers, there are two main things you need to take into account: DP per second and TTR, or time to refund. DP per second is calculated by taking the total DP production of a skill and dividing it by the full cycle time of the skill. So, for example, Myrtle produces 14 DP with her S1. Since her S1 has a duration of 8 seconds and takes 22 seconds to charge, it has a 30-second cycle. 14 over 30 gives you 0.47, so Myrtle produces 0.47 DP per second. In front of you are the results for each flag bearer and what they produce. Yes, Myrtle has the worst DP per second out of the bunch, whereas everyone is the same at 0.53 DP per second. So why is Myrtle considered so good? Well, it's not because she produces the most DP overall, it's because she can produce a good chunk of DP the fastest. The TTR of an operator is just the amount of time it takes for that operator to pay themselves off after deployment. This is a table for each flag bearer's TTR on S1. It only takes Myrtle about 13.5 seconds to generate pure DP profit, whereas everyone else takes over 15 seconds. This, of course, can be cut down by 6 or 8 seconds depending upon the presence and potentials of Bagpipe, but since we're not whales here, we'll just look at it as is. Myrtle's main advantage is her low DP cost compared to everyone else, and the fact that her S1's pre-charge is only 2 less than everyone else, where their skills require 4 more charge to activate. This 3 to 4 second advantage Myrtle has over skill activation is why she's so coveted. However, there's also one other factor that makes Myrtle so important. The stats shown on screen are only assuming the operator is at max potentials. However, comparing Myrtle, a 4-star, to Sayleech, a 6-star, isn't very realistic. Hell, even comparing them to a a max potential Elysium isn't that realistic. Mine's only potential 1, and I'm sure there's some people who just don't even have him. Wan-KING here isn't just a 5-star, he's a welfare 5-star. His potentials are insanely easy to get a hold of, and I'm sure every single one of you did the right thing and got him to max potential when the event was out, right? Here's the exact same graph of everyone's S1, except it's based on my account's potentials. Wan-KING ends up exactly the same as Elysium, and Sayleech isn't even a part of the conversation anymore. Small side note, Elysium can actually end up being more profitable than Myrtle, assuming you deploy at least 2 snipers with him deployed. This is because he reduces all sniper costs by 2 while he's deployed. So if you deploy 2 snipers, he effectively costs 4 less, which makes his TTR better than Myrtle's. This isn't related to Wan-KING in any way, but is just a cool thing I noticed while doing research for this video. Sayleech doesn't get the same treatment though, as her discount only applies to just 1 operator, so you won't be able to reduce her effective cost enough to justify it. Both of these only apply at max potentials though, so... Wan-KING being a welfare is a genuine buff to him as a flag bearer, as the cost reduction potentials make a big difference for him. So yeah, Myrtle is generally your best flag bearer, if not Vanguard, for obtaining the smallest TTR possible. Deploy Myrtle, let her S1 activate 1 or 2 times, retreat her, and play something else. However, Myrtle also barely has any supportive elements to her. Her Vanguard heal might be helpful, but compared to Wan-KING's, that's basically nothing. Comparing Wan-KING's S1 to Myrtle's S1, Wan-KING refunds himself 1.87 seconds later than Myrtle does, and in exchange for that 1.87 seconds, you get his 14% HP boost, which, I'm gonna be honest, sounds pretty worth it. His S2, on the other hand, has a TTR that's about 8 seconds behind Myrtle's S1 and produces 0.03 less DP per second. Huge difference, I know. So in exchange for about 8 seconds, you get the AoE heal and 20% DPS increase that his S2 is capable of providing, and the 14% HP boost from his talent. Anecdotally, I've never really felt the sting of those 8 seconds, but typically, if you're using Wan-KING, you're more concerned about operator buffs than you are about split-second DP management. So, what's the general takeaway? Well, Wan-KING is another addition to the list of operators that make crushers better, so I'm all for him. This video is kind of weird compared to my other videos, since it's short, and it's not like I'm really making a big stand on anything. I just wanted to talk about an operator I'm pretty sure 99% of you completely forgot about. An extra addendum, Sayleech's S2 has by far the worst TTR at a whopping 31.5 seconds, which is nearly 18 seconds behind Myrtle's S1. It's not some crazy revelation or anything, I just thought it was funny about how big of an outlier it is among everyone else. Anyways, remember, there are no bad operators, just slightly longer waiting periods between the time where you can generate profit. Thank you all for watching, I love you all, and have a great day.